Hello, everybody with Clinical Scoop. How's it going? Where science meets business for clinicians. This is Dan Sfera. I've got Dr. Al Jazairli. I've got Monica Quitiva. And I've got Chris Sauber. All on the same call. It's like a heaven right now. These minds, four minds. We just put them all together. We're going to talk about monoclonal antibody. We're going to talk about the Regeneron, the whole Regeneron monoclonal antibody cocktail. And we're going to analyze a story here about COVID. We're going to look at the stock for Regeneron. We're going to click no thanks with ads. We're going to look at the stock price. We are going to look at, and I haven't looked at the stock price, guys. I don't own Regeneron. We're going to look at 3 studies going on right now with this kind of stuff. I'm also going to close my email so we can't see who emails me. And before we start, I want to do a disclaimer. This is not financial advice. This is not medical. God forbid, this is not medical advice. We just had a dog on the videos yesterday, so this is not medical advice and not financial advice. It's just news. It's for people sharing their personal opinion. I don't even know what these other 3 people's opinion is on these things. Sometimes I don't even know my own. So don't take this as advice. It's entertainment, and it's hopefully you get some knowledge from it and do some research on your own, most importantly. And if you're a clinician, you're already in the space, or you're somebody thinking about getting into research, we're going to analyze these 3 studies that you see here on clinicaltrials.gov, and we're going to get into because we do this every week, what we would think as a site if we were to do this study, what are some of the challenges, and we're also going to incorporate some news stories from the Regeneron stock, because we're going to look at the Regeneron stock and see what the chart looks like. If I could zoom out of this one, I would, but let's look at the year to date. While I'm doing this, everybody just introduce yourself briefly, and then we'll get started. We'll get into the studies.
So I want to know more about the dog. Do it give good advice?
You were there. I mean, he was on. He was being
I was here.
obedient.
I don't recall this.
You do not recall holding a dog yesterday?
Oh, I thought we did a video with a dog.
You don't recall holding a dog while I'm holding a camera?
I didn't realize you were recording. Well, I should just always assume you're recording, I guess.
So you don't realize if I'm holding a camera pointed at you and talking to you that it's recording?
What can I say? I don't know.
Last week we analyzed some Alzheimer's studies. Some dementia studies, Chris. That might be appropriate. But
you never know. You never know.
Unbelievable. Okay, Chris, introduce yourself. Let people know who you are besides someone that can't remember a video from yesterday.
No need for introduction. I'm not world famous Monica, but
no, world famous Monica.
I've been here enough. I've been here enough. Part of DSCS.
Yeah, Chris and I just got off of a really good conference call, like an hour-long presentation for diversity and research with a big sponsor. Hopefully, finger crossed, we get it.
Hour and a half.
It was hour and a half, man. That's a good sign. But fingers crossed that they like what they saw. Monica, world famous Monica, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
How is everything with you? And thank you for researching these stories and for coming out with the articles that we're going to share. Thank you for finding those.
You're welcome.
And who are you? Just give a background who you are.
Well, I've been working in research with Chris and Dan. So thank you for all the knowledge. And that's pretty much, I've been working with you guys since, I think, 2015, 14?
14, I think. 14.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's been a great journey.
All right. And Dr. Al Jazairli goes by the nickname Dr. Al to his patients, to many of his patients.
And those who are not. Yeah,
and those who are not. Thank you so much for finding the 3 clinicaltrials.gov studies that we're going to be analyzing right now.
It is very, very, very nice of you always, Dan, as usual. I'm a medical oncologist. I practice in Los Angeles. I'm very interested in research. I have my own research company, and I've been doing it for the last almost like 15, 20 years in research. And me and Dan and Chris and Monica, we all friends. We do research. We talk about research, and we help to improve the research.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you very much. And we're going to get into the studies you showed, but just to give people an idea. So at the beginning of the year, Regeneron, obviously COVID was not in anybody's reality in the beginning of the year. Regeneron was at $373 a share. And now on October 14th, 2020, it's 600. And in the last, did Trump do this study? Like around the last week, it spiked here to 614. Okay, so that's not that much different than what it was. Oh no, October 5th, 609. I think that's when Trump got sick and started taking the drugs. So look at that spike from 563 to 606 in a day, like over and in maybe a weekend because it happened on the weekend. So from Friday till Monday. Okay, and then he got better like within 3 days, and we're going to talk about why. But Dr. Al, why? What is a monoclonal antibody? Can you help us understand this better?
Actually, this Regeneron antibodies is kind of unique because it's not. It's like some kind of antibody that to engulf the virus to stop it from hooking into the cell and attacking it. Okay, and if I've been reading about the history of this, and it's done one time in the past for Ebola, but now they're having it in different way. But because Ebola virus, when they first started it, the virus started developing some immunity for it, and now with this SARS or COVID-19 virus, they tested like almost 7,000 antibody for different spikes on the virus, and they found that like two of them that will be, and they choose two of them because they said if the virus going to develop resistant to one of these antibody spikes, we have the other one as a backup for that, which is kind of unique and kind of neat way of doing it. So they injected to the subject that's infected positive with COVID-19 and try to see what the effect of it in reducing the recovery time and improving the symptoms of the patient, and what they're comparing to the placebo or the one that have been doing nothing. And so far, the study in phase 1 and 2 has been doing good, but also the result of the study that's published on the website of the company today, actually, they're saying there's like about 45% response rate, 45% response, good response. And
we get to see what's in the pipeline, because you see they have different, it's not just this study. Regeneron's a huge company, or a very successful biotech company even before COVID, right? But most people don't know about it until COVID. That's why it became a household name, with Donald Trump being the compassionate use case for them. But look, in December 2015, this was a $544 stock, right? So
it's been very stable.
Yeah, it's been extremely stable. It dropped in September 2019 to 277. Would have been a great time to buy, and then it spiked. So
the first time they traded on the stocks was almost 1989.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
And disclosure, I don't own any stock Regeneron. I don't think anyone else here does. Does anyone?
I don't.
Yeah,
I
nobody.
Don't. Yeah.
None of us own. Monica, Chris, you guys?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so I mean, we're just objective. I wasn't even familiar with this company until I heard about it with Donald Trump getting sick like everyone else, and I work in the industry. But this is their pipeline. They have in phase 1 something for cancer, an antibody for cancer. They have solid tumor antibody. They have an antibody for B-cell malignancies. These are all phase 1. Platinum resistant ovarian cancer. I mean, they have a lot of stuff for cancer in phase 1. Everything. that they're doing, except birch allergy. Multi-dose. This is the multi-antibody therapy. This is the cocktail, right? That Trump got.
Yeah, Dan, you know what's interesting about this company? Back in 1988, when they started with antibody for neurological symptoms, and now they're still producing antibody. They are the specialized company in antibody for different type of diseases.
Wow.
Now they're going to oncology. I mean, yeah, you know, it's just the one who started it, like a neurologist and immunologist, both of them.
Wow.
And that's why they interesting.
That is interesting. I didn't know anything about this company until just a few weeks ago with Trump.
Yeah, and they have partnership with Sanofi in some of the studies.
Yeah, I mean look at this phase
For
3.
cancer, because Sanofi is very big in cancer treatment.
Oh yeah. Look, in phase 3 they have macular degenerative and diabetic macular edema, non-small cell lung cancer, atopic dermatitis, COVID-2. This is the Trump cocktail. What do you guys think, before we get into the studies that we have to analyze, what do you guys think about, because on LinkedIn I see a lot of things about Trump, compassionate use. Does anyone have a problem with him receiving this drug that nobody else in the world received?
For a couple of my patients, I have to call the NCI and order some kind of medication for compassionate use, or call the company and ask them for compassionate use. You have just to fill out some forms and make sure that the patient agrees with that, and then you can administer it. So I've been using compassionate use medication for some of my.
So would John or Jane off the street corner be able to get what Trump got?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, if they agree on it, and they can get it through clinical trial if they go to a center that runs the clinical trial, or they can get it as a compassionate use.
Okay.
Yeah, but now Regeneron was saying they're limited in supply for their study. So this one, it's combination therapy. They're comparing it with placebo. This is the phase 1 for let's see if this is healthy volunteer or people with COVID. Patients with COVID, so they're actually doing a placebo, right? It's placebo controlled. So the debate with Donald Trump was he's the only person in the world to get the compassionate use for this cocktail right now because it's such short supply. Everybody else is doing a study. I personally don't have a problem with it. He's the leader of the free world. I think he deserves special treatment. I don't care what party you're affiliate with. It's the president. I mean, how do you not give him or her, if it was a woman, the cocktail compassion?
I agree with everything you're saying. Sorry, go ahead, Dr. L.
But look at the other parts. If this vaccine is not studied well, and as the medication now for AstraZeneca that they're causing some unexplained sickness in the patient, how are you going to justify it?
So that's where I was going to go. I was going to say, I take no issue with the president getting this, even if most people have no access. But it's not well researched as of yet. So why are they it kind of dumbfounds me on why they would have given it to him to begin with.
That tells me that his symptoms were more than just mild, because this, Dr. Al, am I right? This monoclonal antibody causes severe allergic reaction in about 10 to 15% of people that take it.
Yes.
So that's kind of risky.
And also, I agree with you, to hospitalize a patient, that means his symptoms is not like just mild symptoms. That means it's elevated for mild to moderate.
And so the fact that he's better,
So
and the fact that he's better now shows you good stuff about this. I mean, we know he's the only patient that we know he got the treatment, not the placebo. And he's 3 days better, no signs, testing negative now for COVID. So everybody's going to want this cocktail. Everybody's going to want to be in this study. But in this study, you might get placebo, right? And that's another thing is like Dr. Hazen, we should have had her on. We were going to talk to her yesterday, but we had to reschedule our interview with her, Chris. But she says it's not ethical to do COVID placebo studies.
Especially if you have it.
What do you guys think about this?
Prevention, it's it's ethical. But if you have COVID and you're moderate to severe symptoms, I know it's not ethical.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with it.
Mm.
Yeah, but I think if it is a mild for somebody who's walking the street, like to see the effects of the antibodies on these patients, I think it's like any other medication, but somebody who's sick in the intensive care unit and like this, and you think, I don't think it's ethical. Yes.
No, not at all.
Parallel assignment. So yeah, see, so
So
this
that
is the
means
intervention
that
treatment. Oh, here we go. So you have three arms. Okay, you have the experimental dose, low dose, experimental, high dose, placebo. So yeah, you see here you can get the placebo. 1 out of 3, I'm assuming.
But go up to the title. It is for mild, not for severe.
A master protocol assessing tolerability for the treatment of ambulatory patients with COVID-19.
Ambulatory, which is mild.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So just diagnosed, but maybe no symptoms, right?
Or very
Yes.
mild symptoms.
Okay.
Mild symptoms like cough,
Okay.
maybe fever, maybe
Okay.
no hypoxia, no really
A cold, basically.
sepsis,
Okay.
or no really
Okay, that
profound
makes more sense.
pneumonia.
That makes more sense. Here's the inclusion exclusion criteria. You have to be diagnosed with, positive test and meets one of the following: symptomatic cohort, so symptoms consistent with COVID, with onset of less than or equal to 7 days before randomization, or asymptomatic cohort that has no symptoms. You have to meet all of the following: no symptoms, occurring any time within 2 months prior to randomization, no positive test from a sample collected over 7 days ago prior to randomization, and has had no contact of any duration with an individual who has confirmed COVID-19. This would be the hard part, because how do you know? But I guess has to be confirmed. Because usually if you live with a spouse, somebody has it, the other person then have it too.
So
right?
what's the point of that cohort, though? So is it to prove that this will prevent you from getting the virus? Because if so, then you also have to show some sort of means to come in contact with it after you start the treatment.
No. So both cohorts have to be diagnosed. One is symptomatic, the other one's asymptomatic.
Okay. So,
but the asymptomatic has to meet these 3 things.
Oh, okay. So then why does it matter if you've come in contact with somebody with COVID?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, Dr. Al, maybe.
And then on top of that, how would they become? That kind of confirms that they've come in contact with somebody with COVID if they have COVID.
Yeah.
Maybe to bring them into the trial.
Mm-hmm. You can get a 2-for-1 for enrollment.
But it's,
exactly.
It says has had no contact with an individual who has confirmed COVID. Well, if this person themselves have COVID, then you're already breaking that rule.
Yeah.
How else are you getting it? You're getting it from your
Exactly.
dog?
Within greater than 14 days prior to randomization. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think, people are obviously qualifying. Let's see how many sites were doing this. This was from June, and it's a lot of sites, 95 sites, Arizona.
But they're looking for 2,000
California.
and
So
something
look at California. Oh my God.
California's got a lot. La Mesa, La Palma, Long Beach, LA. Santa Monica, Stanford. Yep, there's a lot of sites doing this phase 1. This is the phase 1 and phase 2. Yeah, both. So
but they're looking for 2,000 and something patients. So
yeah,
it's a
let's
large
go down and
amount
see.
too. 2,104 participants.
Wow, 2,100.
With 95 sites, it doesn't seem too feasible.
They estimate to complete
sites.
by December 19th. If I go to their website and I look, because this is the phase 1 antibody, well, they're not going to tell me their enrollment numbers here. They don't tell you the enrollment numbers. But yeah, this one, this is the one here and this one here. This was the multi-dose safety. This is the one for healthy volunteers. So the one we're looking at, I don't even see it on here. It's not even on the pipeline because this other one's for treatment for hospitalized and non-hospitalized. And this one's for the phase 3 for household contacts of those diagnosed. That's the one, Chris, you were talking about. These are for the prevention and family members.
Right.
They got a lot going on, so I don't see this particular study on their website. Maybe they need to update it, but they have more than just this, which is good.
If they have 95 sites, then we're looking, every site more likely has to recruit 22 patients.
Yeah. So let's go to this next one. This is the same one, same antibody, right? Is it the same antibody, REGN10933? It's
I
gotta
don't know.
be
Go
the
back.
same.
Let's see.
REGN10933. Yeah, it's the same
It's the
plus
same. No, it's the same company.
REGN10987, REGN10987. Yeah, so this is what they're doing for the COVID. This one is tolerability, PK, immunogenicity of repeated subcutaneous doses of anti-spike SARS-CoV-2 monoclonal. What's anti-spike, Dr. Al?
This is the spike that's on the virus itself. They're calling it now the anti-spike vaccine. Okay, the immunoglobulin that they're producing, they're injecting it to cover the spikes of the virus so it will not attach to the cell and start doing the infection through the cell.
Okay. And this is in adult volunteers. They're comparing it with placebo again, but it looks like it might be healthy volunteers as well, because phase one. So let's see what the IE.
940 patients.
Yeah, key inclusion is healthy or chronic medical condition that is stable. Stable medication for comorbidity, willing and able to comply with study visits. Exclusion is a positive. So this is for people not with COVID infection.
Yeah, this is like to see, this is study to see the normal immunogenicity of the body for this,
Right.
But not through IV injection, through sub-Q injection.
Right,
Which will be
repeated
easier for the
subcutaneous
patient if they get approved to administer as an outpatient, just as a flu vaccine, where you get it like.
And they can even self-administer, right? Like with insulin. Okay, so this is this study. This is going to have this healthy volunteers. They want
904 patients.
904
and 40.
940. Wow, that's a lot. And they have sites Arizona, California, Nebraska, Texas. So not that many. Look, 4 sites for 940, even though it's healthy volunteers.
It's healthy individuals, so it's not difficult to find these people, even in 4 sites.
Right, right. Especially if I mean, what are the side effects of this, like, that are known? What's the known side effects of this?
Just allergic reaction to the product itself, mainly.
And what would be the combatant to allergic reaction? Would Benadryl do it?
Benadryl, steroids, or...
So, I mean, if you get an
severe
allergic
cases, maybe hospitalization. If they get allergic, like more severe reaction, then you have different things to do.
The reason I'm asking is with 1,000 patients, I can't imagine this is inpatient. So this is
outpatient.
Yeah, so subcutaneous, then you go home, you get an allergic reaction, you need to be able to treat yourself. So
I think most probably they keep you a couple of hours to watch you to see, at least in the first couple of injections.
Sure, I guess that would make sense.
Yeah.
Let's go really quickly through this last study, and then let's get into some of these news for the stock. The stock and the news. So this one, safety, tolerability, efficacy, same one, but for patients that are hospitalized with COVID. So you just saw 3 different types of studies, and on their pipeline you see even more, right? You see the ones that we were talking about with the relatives or people living with the people diagnosed, which they probably have it too. This one's looking for 2,900 hospitalized patients. This is hard to get. 3,000. It's really hard to get these numbers. Hospitals are not willing to take on these kind of studies. I mean, you guys know they only have 92 sites. California, they have, just a few. They have just about every state a site or more. They don't say the name.
What phase is this?
It's probably
phase 1 and 2.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Typically, you see that many patients as a phase 4 study. Phase 1 is usually very low on enrollment, and phase 2.
Yeah, I think because of the pandemic.
No, but this is safety, tolerability, and efficacy. So it says 1, 2.
Yeah, but it's just
So
odd the
the-
numbers that they're randomizing.
Yeah, I think they need those numbers. I think the FDA mandated they have this amount of numbers to get a clear indication that it's safe, efficacy, tolerability, all that kind of stuff. So this is, if you want to study,
Dan, go
yeah,
a little bit down. Just 1 second. Go ahead. Okay, just there. It says phase 1, 2, phase 3. So they are doing
all
the
of
3
them.
phases at the same time.
Isn't this what Trump said? Operation Warp Speed. We need something quick. Like, I think this is what they're doing. I think he called it Operation Warp Speed or something to get a vaccine, get a treatment.
So each patient goes through all 3 phases.
That's
the
what
same
I'm
time.
thinking.
You're going to go through phase 1, that's a 2-week study. Then phase 2, that's 2 months. And then phase 3, that's 6 months.
Yeah, look, I'm not kidding.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. Let's look. Trump Warp Speed. I'm telling you, this for the COVID when it came out, this is what they said. Trump's Operation Warp Speed accelerates. This is for the vaccine. It's also for treatments, right? So this is what you're seeing.
So
May.
that
This
means
came
that
out in May. This study started in June. That's warp speed.
Warp speed.
For pharma, that's warp speed.
No, for the FDA, that's warp speed. not for
Exactly.
pharma.
Exactly. So this is
the
the way
Trump's
they make it work.
information. So
That's-
that means that Trump participated in the clinical trials.
No,
And
because
his data is
No.
gonna be part.
because I mean he's taking an experimental drug, but he's the only one in the world to not be in a study and take it. So he's special.
Just out of curiosity, does he fall in the age guidelines, inclusion,
No.
exclusion?
No, would not qualify. I looked it up.
He's out. The inclusions play 18 to 70, I would guess.
I think it was 65.
Wow.
But
Okay.
one of the studies didn't have. I mean, it started 18, but it didn't have.
18 and older, so he would qualify for
yeah,
this one. But look, he
exactly.
has to
Mhm,
be
that's the one.
hospitalized. He would have to be hospitalized first. Technically,
Well,
he
he
was
was.
hospitalized. They took
Yeah,
him.
he was for 3 days or 2 days.
Right. So they did take him some, but he wasn't in the study. He got the actual drug. We know that for a fact. That's what he got. So he was not
that's-
enrolled in the study.
And that's why
It
the
was
stock
not randomized.
and that's why the stock price went up 20% in
Yeah.
2
So
days.
great segue, Chris. So hey, by the way, if
Oh.
anyone wants this study, I mean, if you're a hospital, first of all, if you're a hospital and you can do COVID studies, email me, dan@theclinicaltrialsguru.com, because we need a site for a study. Not Regeneron. We need a site for a study. Yeah, look at the stock. So I'm looking at a 5-year chart. Let's look at 1 month. So Trump, right here, Trump, this was before he got hospitalized, October 2nd. Then he got hospitalized, I think, on the 3rd. And then this is when we knew that he's taking the treatment. October 5th, next business day for the stock, it jumped up to 600 from 563.
Okay, so
And then
maybe
it stayed.
8% it went up. So that's not that
Yeah,
significant.
8%. I don't see
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it dipped
This-
again to 581. I don't know why. Must have been some news. And then it's now back to kind of where it was. See, it's kind of where it was at the top right now.
I think it's like Trump taking the vaccine did not affect it a lot the stock at all,
No.
completely. I think it may play a little bit role, but mainly in the vaccine stocks, if you look at the results and the effects on the patient and everything, that's what can affect the stocks, because this is talking about big companies, okay?
Yeah.
multi million dollars company. So I don't think that's one person or two people effect, but as the side effect of this vaccine, they're investing like millions of dollars in this side effect of this vaccine on patients that need to be put in the news. This is where the stock's price can go up or down.
Yeah, and we're going to analyze some of these. CNBC, I don't want to play this because I don't want to get kicked off from YouTube, but anybody can go look at this video. Jim Cramer, don't buy Regeneron stock just because Trump says its COVID-19 antibody
Yeah.
works.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And these are the competitors, vaccines and therapeutics. Johnson & Johnson, we're going to do a story on that one because there and Eli Lilly, the vaccine caused some. We're going to do that next week, guys. So we're going to look into that one.
I think there is, hold on, go back
AstraZeneca.
there, Dan. There's a company which is much better than like what, at least number in phase 3 trial now, Moderna on the vaccine for the
Yeah,
COVID. Well, it's not mentioned here. I
it's
don't know
not
why.
mentioned. Yeah.
Gilead, Gilead is not the vaccine. It's for the Remdesivir.
Yeah, therapeutics.
Mhm.
So this article, maybe we'll see it here. This article, they're arguing what's the better stock, AstraZeneca versus Regeneron. This was written in August 16th, so they're wrong now because AstraZeneca had to put their study on
Trial
hold.
on hold.
Yeah, let's look. I mean, this article was written in August, so that was before they knew about this trial being on hold. All right, let's look at AstraZeneca today. What do we have here? Let's look at like in the last week. See, this is the
Ooh.
54 to, what is this? 53. Oh, not that bad. And then to 55 and to 54. So it hasn't been changed. Let's look at the year to date AstraZeneca. Right here in March, it tanked like everything else.
Everything.
Yeah, from 48 to 37, then it hit the high of 61, and now it's trading around there. So it doesn't even look like the trial being held is affecting AstraZeneca because they're so big of a company. And Regeneron, as you saw, is fairly stable as well. So this article is arguing which one's a better stock. This article, we're not going to get too much into the financial stuff. And again, it's not financial advice. I mean, I don't know what advice we're even giving you because we're just saying it's a stable stock and Trump doesn't seem to have much of an impact on this. Maybe for a day he did, but really not so much. And then here, Jim Cramer, let's accept these cookies. Jim Cramer, Regeneron stock. He likes it. This was October 5th. Regeneron could receive emergency use authority from the FDA after its coronavirus treatment was given to President Trump. So maybe they're going to start using this in the hospitals with emergency use. People who are really sick in the hospital is probably why the study that we just analyzed is important, right? Even though that one, they probably had this in the plans to do this. So he got the monoclonal antibodies doing better, and Jim Cramer says buy the stock, but he doesn't say buy it just because of the Trump thing. So
This is a good company.
yeah,
Overall.
Yeah.
You see
They
a lot
actually,
of education in the pipeline that they have and everything. So I think it's a good company overall.
yeah. Trump said that if they get approved, he was going to give it to all the elderlies for free.
well, hopefully 15% of them don't get severe allergic reactions because that's what happens. They would all need to be in the hospital. I heard some nasty things about the allergic reaction, like it stops you breathing and things like serious things.
Yeah, it can cause for you anaphylactic shock.
There you go. So that's something
it's a foreign protein in your body.
Right.
Your body can react to it, and that's why it can cause like anaphylactic shock, where you can stop breathing. You can have,
so I think the only way that they're going to allow this to be administered is in the hospitals because they're not going to allow people to self-administer this at home. 15% of people are going to develop some kind of reaction.
I know, most probably until they approve it like this, it could be modified or could be having some less toxic side effect.
We got to keep track of this thing. And next week, we got to discuss AstraZeneca and the, what's the other company that put their trial on hold? Johnson & Johnson, that's right. They put their vaccine studies on hold. We got to look into that and examine that a little bit more because
which one?
The J&J and the AstraZeneca vaccine.
About vaccine also?
Yeah.
Oh. And AstraZeneca was doing it all over the world.
That's right. What do you guys think? Anything else? Closing thoughts?
I think both of those Regeneron stock is, probably not right now to buy right now just because it's a little bit more expensive, but it's been kind of stable since pretty much since the beginning. But I was looking the last 2 years and it's been stable and it's been kind of consistently getting up 12% every year. So it's not that bad. Obviously, this is not like Dan says, financial advice, but it
not
doesn't
financial
seem
advice.
Exactly.
Right. Just four lunatics on the internet and that's it. We'll
Should look at
continue
that.
to do this.
Sorry,
Well-
you should look at everybody you watch on the internet. It's just a lunatic.
That should be the name of our show instead
Yeah,
of
four lunatics.
Research lunatics.
So that's good, guys. We're gonna do this again next week. We're gonna look at what's interesting for you guys as well. We're gonna always incorporate a little bit of financial not advice, financial information for you guys, and always start with clinicaltrials.gov first, because that is fundamental to what we do as researchers ourselves. Thank you guys very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Have an excellent rest of the day. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening, and we'll catch you all later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.